your adoptive mom's a rodeo queen, but there is like, whether you know or you don't know, but what comes with being a part of the Mormon church is like it's intense.
Yeah.
And you have to abide by certain standards.
Yes.
Because like everybody's kind of ratting each other out. It's like, it's a very...
It's a very interesting
it's crazy
community, and it's hard to understand unless you've like lived it.
One of my friends is Mormon. That's the closest I've come.
Mm-hmm. Are they like
not Mormon
Jack
anymore.
Mormons? Oh, okay. So like completely out of the church?
Totally out of it. And did their mission in France. You do
cool.
your mission in Stockholm.
Sweden, yeah.
You speak Swedish?
I do.
You have to.
Yes, jag kan svenska.
See?
It's very cool. I've chatted up a random guy at the pool the other day that I overheard. I was like, I'm eavesdropping, but I overheard him talking on the phone and he was speaking Swedish. And I was like, oh, he's speaking Swedish. And just started a conversation with him. And he was like, but you speak Swedish?
Even your outgoing, okay, can you explain to people what you have to do on a mission? Because you have to talk to everybody.
That really brought me out of my shell. I will say that. I was a very shy child. I think I'm still shy in some social situations, but going on a mission, that was just something that I knew I was going to have to kind of get over. And you're doing it for, you're doing it for Jesus. So it's like, I can go talk to this person, and when you're trying to give people, a pathway to their salvation, it becomes more about doing that service more than your own anxiety. But as a missionary, you have a really strict schedule. You're up first thing in the morning with your teaching companion, who you're always with another person. And you do your scripture study, you do your language study if you're in a place where you're speaking a different language, and you go out and you just talk to people all day. And you have lessons that you've set up with what are called investigators, which are people who are checking out the church, and you teach them lessons until they decide they want to get baptized.
So at what point in your life does your music actually become your religion?
Because
it's real, because what you just described is how consuming you become to the art form that we're here to talk about.
Yes. The music and writing music and songwriting has always been a really, really big part of who I am. Like I said, I started really young. Once I realized I could play whatever I wanted, it's really when I started writing. So maybe when I was like 9 or 10. And on my mission, I did have a guitar. And because I had taught myself to play guitar one summer when my mom wasn't around. And we had iPhones, and I would do voice memos of songs that I was writing, and I would send them to other missionaries. And I had like mixtapes that were floating around the mission of people listening to my music that I would write.
Interesting.
Yeah. It all just kind of one thing after another, but I never stopped. It wasn't something that I ever was able to just stop doing.
What are you writing about originally? Like, what are those records about that are floating around in those mixtapes?
Oh my gosh. I mean, some of them were definitely like more spiritual focused. I did try to keep my messages more in line with like me being a missionary. But I had, Mormons are very talented people. A lot of them play all the instruments.
They're
sing.
So smart, bro.
Yes, singing all of the musicality.
It's crazy. Musicality is smart.
Yeah.
What makes them so smart?
The discipline. It's got to just be the self-discipline, and you're raised from a really young age to make the right choices on your own and using the Spirit to help guide you in making the right choices. So I think you go to school and you're like, okay, I need to shut up and listen to my teacher and get good grades and do all these things. It's just it's like a part of the culture.
It's wild.
Being good.
You got it. Like, Dan, it's as deep as like they don't drink. I mean, like, they won't drink anything. Some even don't drink coffee. They don't drink coffee.
Coffee is like, it's called the word of wisdom. It's a big covenant.
Why?
Coffee is no bueno.
No. It's because it alters your state, right?
I don't know, it's just Joseph Smith is the first prophet of the church. It's like this could be hours and hours, but it was a revelation that Joseph Smith received. Look at me being a missionary. It was a revelation that Joseph Smith received that coffee and tea were not to be consumed any longer.
Now,
That was 150 years ago.
is this still a big part of your life? Or is there a moment you were like,
No.
let me see what else is out there?
Absolutely not. It is not a part of my life anymore.
Does music help you see your way out of this?
Yeah.
What role does it play?
Music is how I heal, and it's how I process. And when I'm going through things, it doesn't have to be a good song. It doesn't have to be, 3 verses and a bridge and 2 choruses. It's just a way of getting it out.
It's a poem. It's anything.
Yes, exactly. And just like journaling, but I just put mine to like music, I think. But yeah, I wrote a song called Religion when I was going through the process of just realizing that this wasn't something that I wanted to be a part of. And that was a big part of the healing. And it came out, I did it for Colors with YouTube. And I did it for Colors last year. And that was something that was, it was hard for me to talk about too. With my family's still all members and very active. But I think I'm lucky to have a family that still loves, appreciates, and supports me, and no matter what. And it hasn't been something that's come between us.
Is there any part of religion that still stays within who you are today?
It's very hard for me to accept churches nowadays. Yeah, I think I believe in a lot more personal growth, and that I don't need someone watching me or telling me to be a good person to be one.
At one point, genuinely, do you realize that religion's not, this is not
I mean, this is pretty new for me.
really?
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago that I kind of had a big epiphany that just destroyed every little ounce of like anything that I thought this could be true, or maybe I'll go back to church one day. And it had been a few years of being inactive where I was like, I just don't think the church thing is really for me. There's a lot of things I just disagree with. But there was an experience that I had at home that kind of blew the doors wide open. And I was like, whoa, I don't think I want any part of this. And my brother, my biological brother, lives in Florida, and I ran off to Florida and stayed with him for almost a month, just in bed and crying because I felt like such a big part of my childhood, and I was raised this way. I served a mission, and it actually just crushed me. Yeah, it was a very hard thing, and it's still something that I think I still experience, like a little bit of that PTSD and that trauma with certain things that I feel guilt about, and I'm like, why am I feeling? I shouldn't feel guilty about that, or sometimes I'll drink coffee. Sometimes I'll just drink coffee just to drink it so that I feel like I have a little bit of control, But it's a long time, 20 years in that belief system. It's a lot to undo. And I don't think I'll ever just be like a person who didn't experience that.
Real.
Yeah.